A lot of people are so afraid to travel alone.
So probably the worst thing that's happened to me, and this is surprising, a guy on a motorbike, and he pulled out in front of me, grabbed my handbag, was kind of like slung cross shoulder, and I remember going, no, and then I just clutched it under my arm and I toppled over. He kept riding and he was just dragging me along with him.
I also remember when you took this guy on your shoulder.
Yes, I squatted our friend, an 80-kilo German.
Oh God, let's stop into that for a second. How much weight can you lift now?
So yeah, for context, I power lift recreationally. My record for personal best for deadlift is 140 kilos. It was a really hard life for them. There was a scarcity of food. The government was very corrupt. Very hard for my parents to put food on the table. I had to wait with my mum. I remember waiting in queues for like 3 hours for a loaf of bread. And then we ended up migrating 2 months before the Soviet Union split up and basically ceased to exist. They were both engineers there and they had to start completely from scratch. And you would stay in the common dorm. I'm pretty sure she could afford
One of the best times in my life during traveling is staying in the hostels. You're always in the mood, you're always learning, you're always tasting new food. Then me now understand the you then better. The first touristy thing that you made me do in Melbourne, you take me to 2 dance classes. I had no clue what sunburn was until I started hanging out with people of fairer skin color, you know? And it was like a new, like you discover -1 in mathematics exists. Welcome to the hot seat. Today I have a special guest, and this girl, I met her in Chile very randomly. I remembered her in her small shorts. We are going on a free tour, if you know what free tours means. And I just met her the first time, and we ended up traveling 5 weeks together in Chile, and we had the best time ever. And thereafter, she came to my wedding in Finland in February, and recently we went to Coachella. So I'm so happy to have her on my podcast today. So welcome, Maya.
So happy to be here, Christina. Thank you so much.
Thank you for making the time to come to the podcast today.
Always.
Great. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit and talk more maybe about how we met?
Yes, of course. So my name is Maya. I live in Australia. I am an immigrant from the Ukraine. So I came here when I was 8 with my family. So I did most of my schooling here in Australia. So all of my friends, most of my families here, certainly my immediate family, my communities here in Australia. I work here. I work in IT, cybersecurity. We can talk about that later if there's time. But my big love is traveling, and that's kind of how Cassina and I met. And that's sort of the bond that kind of still brings us together. And it's not just our love for traveling, it's also, I think, the fact that our traveling styles are so similar that wouldn't be compatible with a lot of other people. So we can also delve into that a little bit later, I think. But yeah, so it's so nice and random that we've just done this full circle and we're here together. It's just such a blessing.
Yeah, thank you. And we're talking about traveling. So what is your traveling style?
Very similar to yours, actually.
A bit more intense than mine, I would say.
Yeah, that's debatable, dude. So I think a lot of people are horrified at how last minute and spontaneous we are. And it's funny because when we met on that walking tour in Santiago, Chile, I think the next day, so we obviously exchanged details, we kept in touch. The next day, I think you said to me, do you want to go to Patagonia? And I said, sure. And literally that day we booked a flight. We didn't even know each other. And that was that. And then we just kind of flew by the seat of our pants for the rest of that trip. I think sometimes we stayed in Santiago. We also went up north to Chile to San Pedro de Atacama. But yeah, that whole trip for me, I booked a one-way ticket from Melbourne to Santiago. My intent was to go elsewhere in South America, maybe to travel upwards to Colombia, potentially Ecuador. I did none of that because I met you and I just decided it was a lot more fun to spend time with you.
I agree. I remembered like we wanted to go to Bolivia because it was so close to Atacama, but then we was like, you know what? I'm too tired to explore another country. Let's go back to Santiago because we like the city, and then we end up staying there for various reasons. But it was great fun.
Yeah, I think we couldn't be bothered at that point anymore.
After a month, we were just like, let's take it slow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. And how long before your last flight did you book your flight?
So this was the Melbourne to Palm Springs before our Coachella trip. I was lying in bed the night before. I think it was 1 a.m. I hadn't started packing yet, so my intent was to fly the next day. I was kind of looking around, and I think I booked the flight at about 1:30, 2 a.m. It was leaving 5 p.m. that same day, technically. But it was fine because in my mind, I always knew I was going to book that flight. If it sold out, there was going to be another flight.
Really? Like, I think that's where I think I'm a bit more different than you. At least if I knew there's a specific event I'm going to, I would try to book it like 2 days before. But still, to general people, it's like, you guys are so crazy. And I remember I asked you, did you book your flight? And you're like, no. Did you book a flight? It's like, no. I was like, oh, wow, I think this is how people feel when I tell them that I haven't yet booked my flight. I'm so chill and life is good.
Yeah.
And I recall when I had my wedding in February, so end of January, they asked me if I booked my flight, if I know where I'm flying from. And I was like, no. It was like, okay, so we're going to have a wedding without the bride. And I that moment for me, I realized like, on the other side, how it feels sometimes when we don't know if this person is coming or not. But we know in our head, like, we're going to be there. We just don't know what time, which plane. It doesn't really matter. We'll figure it out at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah. I've had a person that didn't know me very well that I was going to be traveling with that got cranky with me. They kept asking me, did you book your flight? Did you book your flight? This was to watch the UFC in Abu Dhabi. And it was like, I think, about 4 days out and I hadn't booked it yet. And he's like, this isn't happening, is it? And I was like, no, it is. This is how I am. Like, trust me, I do this all the time. It's very normal.
Yeah. I would probably think also like a lot of time people doesn't end up making it because the flight got delayed or got cancelled, and other people who are on their trips like super stressed out by it. So that's why it's like an anxiety that they are not used to.
Yeah, but that's going to happen anyway. You could book your flight a month out and it's still going to get delayed. You miss your connection.
I mean, if I had booked my flight a month ago before I flew to Coachella, I would not have made it to Australia at all.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? And I wouldn't be in Melbourne right now, if I had all my flight sorted out. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's an interesting way of traveling. And do you experience difficulties, though, when you travel in terms of you're supposed to have a return flight ticket out? Do they ask you for that? Because it's a fundamental criteria.
Yes. I've had that issue once, I think, flying into Colombia from memory. And yeah, I needed a ticket out and I had to literally book it at the gate. I think I tried to book a flexi ticket, but it didn't work. So I just ended up booking a normal ticket, but it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't come across it as much as I probably should have. But yeah, I think I've just been lucky. But that's one of the reasons people plan these things ahead.
Yeah.
Normal people.
I recall I had to go to a wedding and I didn't have a flight out because I'm not used to have a flight out. And I was in Tanzania. And they definitely not used to it. And I tell them, all right, I'm going to put a ticket last minute. I go on Expedia and trying to book a flight ticket. I got it. I'm just waiting for the email. And they are like, it's impossible to get a flight ticket in 10 minutes. Like, no, you're not boarding the plane. They didn't let me board the plane. I was like, oh, that's a lesson. So what I do going forward, I try to ensure I have a flexible ticket or 24-hour cancellation so that my plan change, I can change accordingly.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good idea, dude.
Yeah.
I need to learn from that.
Well, if you don't get this issue much, like, why?
I think it's just I've just been lucky so far. It's
Yeah.
not because it hasn't. It's unlikely to come up. I think it's very likely.
Keep being lucky.
Yeah. Thank you. Good advice, Christina.
And so what was your impression of me when you met me in Chile? Like, did you know like you were gonna travel with me? Of course, we didn't know that, but like I was very shocked of how we clicked and vibe kind of immediately, right?
Mm. Yeah, I kind of got this feeling as well. I kept looking over you, looking over at you during the tour. Yeah, I kind of knew as well. And then when we started talking about sort of our backgrounds and like our life experiences, what we do for work, I started realizing, okay, so we've got similar travel styles. We've got, we both work in corporate, so we've got fairly similar budgets. And we've got very similar interests in terms of the places that we want to see. So it's like, this is crazy. Like we're like twins. But the only difference was when we were staying in the hostels. So obviously, like you were staying in your hostel in Santiago, you came over to my hostel. I was always staying in a private room because I'm an introvert and I need to be alone at the end of the day. And you would stay in the common dorm. And I was like, I'm pretty sure she could afford like a private room. I think she just likes hanging out with other people like all day and all night.
Yeah.
So I think that was the only difference, but it didn't obviously change anything.
And for me, it's like I was like, why is she staying in a private room when she can stay in a room with all the people and hang out, Because in my mind at the time, I was so about like connecting and meeting people, making friends and stuff. So having 10 people in my dorm was so amazing to
perfect.
just chat and all. And then you had like your little private space just next to my room, I
Yeah,
remember.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And now you're more like me.
Oh, wow. Now, like, honestly, this year I've traveled a lot already, and I've stayed in hostels for 2 days only once. And I realized I can't do it anymore. Like, last year I did it a bit longer, and it's just changing. It's changed how you travel. So obviously, I've been doing it for 10 years, and it was amazing. And I think now I've moved to the next stage of how I would like to travel.
Yes.
Very costly.
Yes. Yes. Same. Your hostel stay that was in Hawaii,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
before Coachella.
But it was really cool because the experience you have when a lot of people are scared when they hear hostels, like, oh my God, how can you live there? It's so scary. You're not gonna be scared to be attacked. And I was like,
beer
never,
pong.
you've
That
never
part's
stayed
true, though.
there. Yeah. Yeah. You have to be careful with your stuff. And that's the reasons, like, when I was in Hawaii and I was like, okay, I have to repack my stuff and lock it down. I would rather be in a room where everything is everywhere and just like, wear
Yes.
that I have to wear and then leave. But yes, a lot of people were saying like living in hostels is so scary and very dangerous and all of this. And I was like, how you live there? I feel like we got a lot of opinion from people of how traveling should be without them having experiencing it at all.
Yep.
And one of the best times in my life during traveling is staying in the hostels, meeting incredible people.
Yep.
Many of them I'm in touch with. We were travelers earning very little at some point, and now some of them are business owners and doing like crazy jobs, or lawyers and all of this. So the perceptions that general population can have of traveling is very different from what travelers have of traveling,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because even a time in Santiago, I would also probably choose a hotel now at this stage of my life. But obviously, we didn't meet at a hostel, but you came over, you met some people at your hostel, then you came over, you met the people at my hostel, we all formed a big group, we started hanging out, doing things together, we went out nightclubs, we went to that theme park, Fantasylandia.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. Exactly. So, and you...
Oh, yes, I also remember when you took this guy on your shoulder.
Yes, I squatted our friend, an 80-kilo German.
Oh, God. Let's stop onto that for a second. How much weight can you lift now?
So, yeah, for context, I powerlift recreationally. My record for personal best for deadlift is 140 kilos, so I weigh 51.
Wow.
So
And you weigh 51?
I weigh 51, yeah, so it's about 2.8 times body weight. Volker was only 80 kilos, so it's fine.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was so impressed by this. Like, how is this tiny little girl able to carry this heavy man?
But he
And
was,
I still have the videos of that, by the way. I
yeah,
don't know.
me too. But he was bugging me the whole day because he knew I lifted. And he's like, "You can squat me. Like, you can squat me at the end of the day." And I was like, I was a bit sick and I couldn't be bothered. And then I just wanted him to stop annoying me, so I just agreed to it. And then he sat on my shoulders, and I was like, "Geez, it's heavier than I thought." And then just
Yeah. And if you are staying in hotels, that's not an experience that you would get to meet people all like
yes.
this. You're just like on a tour or just like by yourself doing something
I think I would get arrested if I tried to squat somewhere that I made in a hotel.
randomly.
It's like a posh English lady.
Oh my goodness. But
Oh,
good
yes.
times, good times,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah,
And
flexible.
the little Declic, when I had went to Hawaii for those 2 days, I did like a lot of things with the people and go to
Yes.
places that as a tourist I wouldn't know.
Yes.
So that reminded me again, like why I love hostel. That's a part of it I love.
Yeah.
And then it also reminded me which part I don't enjoy anymore.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I should travel a bit like you. I stay in a hostel and I take a private room
Mhm.
and then hang out with people and then go in my personal space.
In
You
everything
know.
in your time.
Exactly, exactly. So I think the me now understand the you then better.
I'm great we got to this point now, Jen.
And how about you? Do you still travel the same way you used to travel before and now?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the only thing, because I didn't like dorm rooms then, I don't like dorm rooms now. I think I probably, before the priority was like you to meet people, but to do it on my terms when when I want. Now I think I prefer a little, not luxury, but maybe something a little bit nicer. I can still meet people if I want to. There's other ways of doing that. Also, I found back in the day it was easier to book excursions. I can't remember if we had platforms like Get Your Guide and Viator then.
I think so.
But yeah,
Not so common maybe at that
yeah,
time.
I don't think they were used as broadly. So staying in a hostel was a really nice way to kind of participate in activities that were already organized, and just kind of get access to those. Whereas now I'm like, I land in a city, I check the app while I'm on the plane. I'm like, okay, there's this excursion, this excursion, this excursion, and you just do that. And those tours are actually also really good ways of meeting people as well. So yeah, I still like being alone, but I think I like being alone in a little bit more luxury than previously.
Yeah.
But still, put me in a hostel in Colombia, I'll be happy. Like,
Yeah. You will just be happy because it's Colombia.
exactly. Just just happy to be there.
Yeah, it's still on my list to visit. I would love to check out Colombia.
I'm taking you one day.
Yeah.
It's not even negotiable.
My 66th country. Let's go to Colombia.
Yes, we'll make it happen, dude.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. And so you've progressed like this over the years of your different styles of traveling, but like as a person in itself, like do you think like traveling has changed you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like I've had this curiosity, I think, since I was a kid about different cultures. I think in another life I would have been an anthropologist, but I don't think there's any work for that here.
Passion.
Yes, exactly. I'm always kind of looking up what cultures are sort of distantly related, like what the ancient nations are sort of behind the cultures that we see today, what the migration paths were, like which cultures are closely related. So that's always fascinated me. And then when I realized I had access to travel, it was like an addiction. Like you're exactly the same.
Once you're a traveler, you're a traveler.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. And then sometimes you speak to people, and then they say, "No, I'm kind of happy being here. I'm just happy going to work and looking after my kids and driving my car." Like, that's fine, but I can't relate to that at all because you're missing so much global perspective. Like
Mhm.
you know, we always talk about, like, with you and with, I've spoken to other people about it as well. People that grow up in Australia, I think particularly a place like Australia, which is a first world country, everything, like there's issues everywhere, but I think people grow up with everything fairly accessible and kind of leading a fairly comfortable lifestyle. And if you don't go out and look at how other people live, you kind of think that's all there is, and you begin to take everything for granted. And I think it's a really dangerous way to live. I think global perspective is everything. I think it makes you a better person just generally, and I think it changes the way that you relate to people in general. Just plus, it's so much fun. Like you just get to see new stuff and just do stuff that you wouldn't otherwise.
I think I'm addicted to seeing new stuff because I've been spending the last 2 years. I want to settle down in a country. I don't want to travel so much.
Will you ever though? That's the
And
thing.
then every time you saw on my social media, I'm like randomly in some country. This is what you meant that you want to. I was like, but the feeling that you get just seeing something new. If you're in your own space, you're not gonna go for a walk 5 days a week. You would do it for the first 3 months, I don't know, and then it becomes less likely to happen.
Yeah.
But when you're traveling, it's new,
Yeah.
you would go for that walk because you've never been to this area, and the following morning you might do it again, and then you go to another location. So you're always in the mood, you're always learning, you're always tasting new food.
Yep.
And then again, like you say, perspective-wise, when you come back home, when you're living day-to-day lives, you appreciate it better. You're more grateful for what you have. And when things doesn't turn out right, and especially I think we travel, we don't only travel to first world country, we travel to third world countries and many things. And there's so many things that you see that put your heart in place, kind of,
Exactly. Both the good and the bad things.
Yeah.
Because I've had bad things happen to me traveling, as
Yeah.
you have, I'm sure. But that hasn't dampened my love for that particular place.
And talking about bad things, probably like you travel a lot alone as well, right? By yourself. And then what kind of things happen, if you would like to share? Because a lot of people are so afraid to travel alone because the world is so dangerous,
Yeah.
Like, do you mind sharing like what experience could happen?
Yeah. Not at all. So it's funny because the bad experiences have, I think, given me a new appreciation for traveling to places that are safe. But I don't think you get the same level of, I guess, quality of exploration, I guess. So probably the worst thing that's happened to me, and this is surprising because, I think I've done a lot of stupid things in the sense of going to places alone and just taking risks that I didn't really, I guess, evaluate carefully. But I was in a city called Cartagena on the Caribbean coast of Colombia. And the way that Cartagena is set up, it's a very, very touristy place. It's very beautiful if you stay within the central part of the city, which is also called the walled city or the old city. If you stay within the walls, it's perfect. There's nice hotels, hostels, restaurants, like little boutiques. It's great. Very safe. You can walk around at night. It's fine. So I did that. And then one day I thought I'll go, I knew there was a local market nearby. And instead of taking a tour, so hiring a tour guide or even just taking a taxi, I thought, okay, I'll just get some steps in as well. It was a 45-minute walk. I saw, just thought, fine, I can do it. And obviously that market was outside the walled part of the city. Now, I didn't know very much about the area in between the walled city and the market. I asked a friend in Melbourne who was actually from Cartagena, is it safe for me to talk? They said, yeah, it's fine. Just after 3 o'clock, it's not great. So get out of there before then. And I thought, all right. So I think at about midday, I started my walk. And I'm sort of walking, and I kind of see, so it was broad daylight, sunshine, lots of people around, so I never actually felt unsafe. But I could kind of progressively see the neighborhood becoming poorer. The way that people dress changed. And I was walking in my hot pink shorts and
pink shorts.
my purple top. I think you probably saw them at Chile as well. And I had my Mimco bag. So Mimco is a local sort of brand. that we have in Australia. Definitely didn't look like anything Colombian. Had it slung over my shoulder, stuck out like a sore thumb, 100%. So I had my phone in my hand because I was trying to check the GPS. I know you and I have talked about kind of, ways to do that as well, when it's unsafe. And then a lady on a push bike rides by and she kind of gestures at me like, put it away. And I was like, oh. So put the phone away in my bag, kind of kept walking. And then at one point I crossed a little street because I was walking on a main road, and I don't know where he came from or how, like whether he'd been following me, but there was a guy on a motorbike and he pulled out in front of me, grabbed my handbag, which was kind of like slung cross shoulder, and just pulled it. And I think he maybe expected that the strap would break or that I would let go.
But it's a good local brand.
Yeah, very good. Exactly. I think it's a testament to the quality. But I was so terrified because I didn't care about the bag. I didn't care about the belongings, but because my phone was in there, and I was terrified, I think, more than death now, thinking back to it, about the prospect of being in Colombia without my phone, without, any of my personal, my work stuff was on there as well. And I remember going, no. And then I just clutched it under my arm and I toppled over. He kept riding and he was just dragging me along with him. I don't know, can't remember how long, he was dragging me with him for. I think I kind of maybe like blocked that part out. But people were yelling at him from the street, from the balconies. And eventually, at some point, miraculously, he let go. And people rushed up to me to help and all that happened. But yeah, I escaped relatively unscathed. I had a lot of scratches and bruises on that side.
Yeah, during that process, were you like not feeling the pain when he was dragging you on the street?
Nothing. I think it was just, probably the adrenaline was kind of just numbed me.
That,
yeah, exactly. But I felt the shock afterwards. But what was interesting was that there was an old man and a young man that came to my assistance, and they flagged down some police that were riding on a motorbike. And so there was a policewoman that came. So she came up to me. Could see she was kind of looking me up and down. She wasn't particularly friendly. And the first question that she asked me in Spanish, she said, "¿Por qué estás sola? Why are you alone?" And I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's like not, are you okay? Not, we'll get this, terrible person that did this to you. And I guess I wasn't surprised, but in the moment, it wasn't exactly what I wanted to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But after that happened, I kind of just brushed it off, being me. I thought, no, it's fine. I'm all good. But in the next few days, and I think even longer term, I think it kind of changed the way that I traveled because I was I moved on to a city called Medellin, in inland Colombia, and I was just afraid to go outside. And that definitely shaped my experience in that city.
Yeah.
And I think now I'm definitely better, but I think I've gravitated towards places that are safer. And it's nice, but it's a different style of travel, and it's a habit I want to get out of because there's nothing like exploring, like uncharted terrain and going somewhere that's a little bit off the beaten track. Obviously, if you do it carefully, you manage the risks.
Yeah.
What I did was a little bit silly, but I don't want to stop kind of, having that urge to explore these crazy places.
Exactly. Like, oh, I'm sorry that this happened to you. And I can imagine how traumatic. We were talking about this the other day, like what kind of things that happen during travels that stays with us for longer than we wish it does.
Yeah.
But I am still happy to see that you keep traveling and exploring.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow I think like we've been protected enough and lucky enough that nothing bigger than this happened because of the way of traveling. We travel a lot alone, and I think this is also why a lot of stories that people hear and then they don't want to even go for it, But it's just about being a bit safer where we are. When people say don't go there, maybe we should consider it. But we do like this thrilling of adventure and freedom to just walk 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 10 hours, and then you see this waterfall somewhere, or this little cute boutique there.
Or this volcano.
Or this volcano. Yeah, this was
talking
a
about.
great experience. Yeah.
Yes.
And no, I get it totally. And for me too, like I've traveled to 40 plus countries alone. And I've gone hiking in Brazil multiple times. And people are shocked and telling me, like, you shouldn't be doing this after I've done it like 50 times of hiking, you know? And in South Africa as well, it's not the safest city, of course, but like I would walk with my laptop bags all dressed up with my fancy clothes.
This is in
And
Joburg?
in Joburg, yeah,
Yeah.
to go to the office is a 15 minutes walk or 20 minutes walk max. So it didn't make sense for me to take the Uber. And I've done it for a long time. And then at some point, my colleagues like, Asuna, you shouldn't walk like this. You are lucky that you're not getting robbed. And I'm like, it looks super safe around. And then quite recently, I heard somebody did try to steal his phone and he didn't give he shot him, you know? So I think we're like pretty lucky. And then we do have to consider the different factors around the lines and just like refrain ourselves a little bit. And if we want to walk freely, we go to countries that are super safe, like Dubai, maybe.
Yes.
To walk at
Yep. Good old
night.
UAE. Singapore.
Yeah.
Haven't been to Singapore yet. I still
Oh,
need to do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Singapore. I spent a whole day doing a tour, but I went partying the previous night in South Africa. I got back like 6 a.m., got on the flight. So I don't think I know Singapore as I think. I don't know if I should even put it in the list of countries that I've visited at this
No,
point.
dude, if you've been there, you've been. But we would
Yeah.
have to do it properly together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember we were talking like, how do you decide which country is included in the number of countries you visited or not? Is it like a layover? Is it like you spend 5 hours? Is it like you get up on the airport and in afterwards?
Yeah. I think if you get out of the airport for any period of time, even if you just put your foot out and then back in, I think you visited the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so too. Maybe like a bit longer in my mind, yeah. If we count the layover, then I don't know. That would be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if not if the layover is at the airport. But yes. Yeah, it's like I've been in the Singapore, like in Changi Airport, I think about probably 9 times now, maybe 10. Never been inside the country.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we had a layover there on the way from the Ukraine to Australia when we were migrating.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider that visiting Singapore.
Talking about this, tell me about your migration from Ukraine. Like, how did that happen? How did that go? And how do you stand on this today as
Nice
well?
segue, dude. There's quality work there. Yeah, so my family migrated from what was called the Soviet Union or the USSR at the time. Doesn't exist as a country anymore. When I was 8, you can probably calculate how old I am. And it wasn't a choice I had, obviously, because I was a kid. So it was my mum, my dad, my old brother, and my grandma at the time. And we had some relatives already here in Australia that kind of had a base here.
Mm-hmm.
They'd been here. Some had been here for 5, some had been here for 10. And so they were kind of helping us with the transition. But yeah, for me, it was hard because even though there were obviously really good reasons why my family decided to migrate.
Is it like decided or was it like forced?
I mean, I wasn't consulted. I was a child. I don't blame my family for not consulting me.
Consulted you.
No, but it was really. They consult me on things now. But yeah, it was a really hard life for them. There was a scarcity of food. The government was very corrupt. And it was just, obviously the process started 2 years before, but we ended up migrating 2 months before the Soviet Union split up, basically ceased to exist. But yeah, it was very hard for my parents to put food on the table. I had to wait with my mum. I remember waiting in queues for 3 hours for a loaf of bread, and then my mum wanted to buy some meat to cook for us, and then she would have to bribe the saleswoman to give her a better portion or a little bit more than the quota that she was allowed. And also, my parents knew that if my brother and I had stayed, our opportunities would be very limited because we come from a Jewish background. And in the Soviet Union at the time, your ethnicity, or they referred to as your nationality, it was written on your passport. And universities had quotas for the numbers of Jewish people that they accepted. So my dad, for example, wanted to be a doctor. He had the grades for it, but he was just told kind of not to bother because it was going to be impossible. So he studied physics. He became an engineer. He was still very successful. But that was one of the limitations that they didn't want us to have. And so when we came to Australia, it was great. And I think every immigrant kind of understands this. This is when you're placed in this environment where you have opportunity and the only limiting factor is you and kind of how hard you work, you just kind of seize the moment and go for it. And then you kind of look around and you some people have the same drive and they're usually other immigrants. But you're just amazed that not everybody has this. And you're like, but it's up to you. Like you determine your own success. You determine how much money you make. Obviously, there's other factors that come into play, but you're the driving force. And that was the awesome thing that, that I kind of realized when I came here. And my parents kind of also always emphasized education, as I know yours did as well. And so that with kind of armed with that, I just felt like the only sort of limitation in how far I could get was how hard I wanted to work. And that was, to me, a really great thing. So because you weren't going to be limited by factors that you can't control, like, what's inside your bloodline, what
What your
ethnicity
skin
you're born.
color, what's everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. And I know, so we had a specific version of that in the Soviet Union. Obviously, there's variations of that in Africa, definitely. So, so I feel I definitely didn't want to move at the time because I was really comfortable with my friends. I was really enjoying schooling there. And then you're just kind of ripped out and you don't speak the language in this new environment. I had to learn 2 languages at school. I just wanted, I think my mum telling me that I would come home crying just because I couldn't keep up, didn't understand. But you work hard and you overcome it. And I'm so grateful that they did this for us because it had repercussions for them as well because they were both engineers there and they had to start completely from scratch. And it takes a hit. Your ego takes a hit as well. It's not something that's easy to digest. And they worked minimum salary. My mum earned $5 an hour as a babysitter. And I remember she would take me to her work during school holidays, and some of the kids were really mean to her because she wouldn't speak English. They were mean to me as well. But it's just the magnitude of the sacrifice is crazy, and it's something that I kind of only understood when I was when I became older. I think every immigrant kind of relates to this to some extent.
And your parents' sacrifice paid off. You guys both of you have a better life, good life, and you've achieved a lot for yourselves because you know how important it is, and you don't have the options of going back to Ukraine.
Well, definitely not now.
Definitely not. To make a very, very good decision so many years ago for what's going on now as well.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I think if we'd migrated now, it would have been under very different circumstances. And I think if obviously the older that you are when you kind of make that change, that I think the opportunities sort of shape up very differently. So,
and on this, and you're talking about the opportunity, how young did you realize that you're getting way better opportunities here?
I think when we just moved here, I was there as a child. I was just trying to keep up, just trying to sort of metabolize the world around me. But I think it was maybe when I went to university, and I realized I couldn't study whatever I want. And then after that, I could work in whatever field I want. Obviously, within the constraints of what your degree permits. But it was. And I think it kind of dawned on me that even when I was sort of moving from job to job, I realized that the world, in terms of ambition, that's talk about limiting factor. That's the only limiting factor. And I kind of, I would mention this to my parents and my brother over dinner, and my brother would laugh at me. He said, he'd always say, "You didn't want to move." And I said, "I know, but I was 8."
Yeah, everybody at 8 want to be with their group of friends, and then coming to a new place, starting over with our children who are already in many years already in the same schools, and then you have to integrate, you're kind of an outsider trying to be part of a group,
Yeah.
right?
And that was the other thing. I think I found it hard because I ended up at a private school. I think they had a special program for immigrant kids. So it was a kind of non-religious Jewish school. And the kids that I went to school with were the children of Australian Jews. So they were financially a lot better off. And yeah, I remember being bullied because I wasn't wearing the latest fashion. I was wearing hand-me-downs that, my dad's uncle got from some friend of his, these like old Reeboks. And I was wearing dresses, whereas it wasn't cool for girls to wear dresses at the time. Everybody was wearing shorts or pants. And yeah, that was hard. But I think that kind of stuff, yeah, and I know you've mentioned sort of instances of bullying as well, just, different context, obviously. But I think that kind of stuff toughens you up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It
I also
just,
think like if I didn't grow up in Mauritius and not being treated this way because of my skin color, I would
Mhm.
not be as tough because
Mhm.
traveling abroad and living abroad for so long, people are so nice and so friendly that it doesn't toughen your skin, you just
Yeah.
get softer actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I realized that things that would happen to me. So I was in a um, workplace that was not very. So it was like a slightly toxic environment. People weren't very nice, and I realized, and I didn't really take it home with me. I found a way to deal with it, and I moved through that situation. And I realized the only reason was because of what I experienced as a kid. And so I think that stuff makes you bulletproof for later in life. It's actually very good for you.
Yeah.
Um,
So based on that, if there is a teenager or somebody younger who's listening to this podcast, what would you tell that person?
well, dude, it's a little bit different now because I think in some respects we were lucky because we didn't have social media and the bullying kind of didn't follow you around after school. And now it does. And I kind of see that with my nephew, who's 12, and my friends' kids. And it's, I think it makes a parent's job a lot tougher as well. But I think the issue that you sort of, that you touch on is resilience. It's, obviously a lot broader. I think, the message there is it doesn't matter how tough it is. Hang in there. Like you've got this. And it's really hard to see that now, but it will make you a better person, just a better quality and like a more functional individual later on down the track, and it'll benefit you in every facet of life. So, yeah, but it's definitely easier said than done. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a journey, but it's just like you say nowadays there's podcasts, there's social media, and it's good that we talk about these things because when we were going through that, there was nobody telling us what to do or
Mhm.
what to say or are you okay? There was no therapy, such a thing back in the days that you're talking about it with your therapist. And you don't
Exactly.
even know what you were going through until you become adult and it's like, yo, this is what I was handling. This is what
Mhm.
I was going through. And for me also, it mostly in adulthood that I realized what was happening all
Mhm.
this time. And I'm like, I understand why I was an angry, a part of me was always angry, but it didn't resolve it. It actually made me more angry.
Yep.
In the sense, like anytime I'm experiencing this nowadays, like I just go ballistic.
Yep.
And the thing is, for example, in Mauritius, we still have this issue. It's less present now, but we still have the same issue. And if I would walk on a street on a day-to-day, people doesn't know who I am at all. For them, they will look at me. I am still a dog girl who has a big mouth. So no, you're not going to be treated well, But for people who know who you are, they just like respect you a little bit more. And that's why I tell my husband, like, I'm not looking to move to Mauritius. You're going to be treated like a king. I'm going to be treated like the black girl who's just living
I
in
remember.
Mauritius who's married to a white guy. Apparently, the white guy is taking care of me, which is not at all the case.
I
You
know.
know, so
I know.
prejudice of lives. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so funny that people make these assumptions that
Yeah.
because of the respective skin colors of you and your
Yeah.
husband, that people assume that you married him
Yeah.
for the privileges, the money, and it's
Should I get the skin color as well? That would have been cool.
No, dude, no.
I wouldn't be able to stay under the sun for so long.
Exactly.
I would have pain. I had no clue what sunburn was until I started hanging out with people of fairer skin color,
Like me.
you know? And it was like a new, like you discover -1 in mathematics exists. You know? So,
No,
yeah.
dude, sunburn sucks.
Apparently.
Yes. Oh, you're
Yeah.
very lucky.
Yeah, at least one thing I feel very lucky on.
Oh, dude, no, definitely more than one.
Yeah. Yeah. And coming back to the way I still to today doesn't understand how little kids are able to be bullying other little kids. Like, what do we get from? Everybody is cute little babies going to school and growing up, and
Yeah, well, kids
and
are
stuff
very
like that.
cool. Kids are, I think, when people grow up, I think adults tend to be a lot more diplomatic in their bullying. It's still, obviously, I think probably
I think
cuts
adults
us
are
deep.
more bullies than kids are.
Yes, well, kids do it from a purer place, if there's such a thing as bullying from a purer place, but it's more kind of obvious. So I feel like you're in a better position to tackle it. Whereas when you become an adult, you kind of, you learn to manipulate, and I think you become, just better at kind of twisting the knife.
Yeah.
Sometimes you learn
100%.
techniques that you don't know as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I look back, for me, it was mostly adults. It was teachers. It was just general people.
Mhm.
Obviously, there would be some boys because you're not paying them attention and would say you're competing with the cobalt and stuff like that. But generally, it was adults.
So you are
who was
competing.
doing- I am competing. I remember walking in Brazil one day, and there was this two black guy walking, and they were like dog, black. And their skin was so beautiful, by the way. I was like, oh, wow. And then I was standing there. I felt like, I'm not dog at all. But then the skin was so nice.
No.
I was like, I might as well be just that dog. It would have been worth everything that I went through growing up. But
No,
this toughened me up so much. We are where we are today in the career path where we are and the person that we are because of the experience that we had before.
Yeah, 100%.
And if we didn't have it, we don't know who we were going to be.
Exactly. I think we'd be lesser people if not for the things that we'd experienced.
100%, 100%.
Yes.
Well, apparently I like to move from super fun stuff to super deep stuff, and now I'm going to move back to super fun stuff. Coachella.
Oh, yes.
Let's get to that. I am so happy that you decided to join me for Coachella. And it was September last year. I got the tickets. I got 2 tickets, and I was thinking like maybe Dominic will come with me, and then I know how he is, and he's just gonna eat my life that I'm taking him to this event. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask Maya. This is a person that I really, really want to go to. There was another friend I told you.
I know.
But I was like,
let's not talk about that.
yeah, let's talk about you. And I was like, the best person to go with me on this trip is Maya. So I'm going to ensure. And I did progressively. I asked you a little bit, but then I didn't want to force it too much on you. And after the wedding, I think I asked you again. Or
Yeah.
before, like, oh, you want to go to Coachella with me? I was so pumped to do this. And I know I was going to do it only once. I don't think I'm going to do it again. I don't know where you stand on this. So I'm glad that you're the person I did it with.
Yeah, 100%. And we've spoken about this. It's a really good bucket list experience. I'm really happy that you persuaded me to do it. I was also, I was thinking about it before, and I was like, because it's not. I've spoken to so many people here after we've come back that had said, "Oh my God, it's just been such a bucket list item," and it's never been for me. Like, I'm not a massive festival person, you know that. But I'm so glad, because if you hadn't asked, I would never have done it of my own accord. But it was such a cool and such a different thing to do. But I'm definitely with you. It's a once in a lifetime thing in 2 senses. It's once in a lifetime that you probably have the opportunity to do it. But on the other hand, you probably also wouldn't want to do it more than once because, yes, it's fun and it's sensory overload and there's so much to see. But on the other hand, it's exhausting. Yeah, we were making sure that our outfits were on point, and we didn't go the comfort route. We were wearing our brand new boots that we got literally that morning, the very morning of the first day. I mean, the outfits came together, but it was, it wasn't comfortable. But also it's very expensive, obviously. And I remember having this conversation with a couple of other people. They're like, yeah, but it's Coachella, it's worth it. I said, you could prioritize spending this money on something else that you might potentially enjoy more. Your life will still go on. The earth will still keep turning on its axis if you don't go to Coachella, but you will experience something else, possibly something better. And so if we hadn't gone, it's fine. We wouldn't have experienced it. I'm really glad we did. But, on the other hand, it's not, I wouldn't say this is something that you need to do in your lifetime. Otherwise, have you even, I don't think that's the case at all. But
It's what I say for ayahuasca, that I think people should do it at least once in their life.
yes, you've said it to
but
me.
not Coachella.
Ayahuasca is a lot cheaper than Coachella. Mind you.
Oh, cheaper but very intense.
It's costly in other ways.
Yeah.
But the one thing, and again, we couldn't have known this at the time, the one thing I wish we hadn't done was the Nobu Omasaki menu. That was such a ripoff. I can't even.
No, we spent almost $1,000 US dollar
Yeah.
for some piece of food.
But it was more actually because you were saying they sent you the sort of the taxes,
Yeah.
the tax component afterwards.
Almost 1,000 in total.
For one?
No, for both of
For
us.
both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
still.
No, because I'm thinking of AUD. Yeah, that's right. So 1,000 USD for both. Yeah, oh, God. And then they
Came late.
Yeah, exactly.
We had 10 minutes to eat the 10 sushi, and I was feeling nauseatic at some point. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, and I'm so glad at least you brought it up there.
Because it
Doesn't
was
make
like,
sense. We should have gone to Nobu, Malibu, and ate like a full food with the view and the ambience and everything than there.
well, the ticket from Palm Springs to Miami and the Nobu experience would have probably not been much more than that experience.
I think so.
In its own right. But yeah,
No.
it's really, yeah. So for context, for people that might not know, I think, what did we get? So we had an edamame starter, then we had these kind of fried sort of bites of kind of deep fried prawn.
Yeah, quite
which were-
oily.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't really rate those. And then, before that we had some sashimi, which was nice.
That was good.
That was probably the highlight.
Yeah.
And then afterwards we had like a platter, like a little box of kind of sushi rolls and onigiri, which were fine, but both of us have probably had better sushi or
Yeah,
as good
yeah.
before. But yeah, the kicker was, as you said, 10 minutes after that kind of main, sort of the sushi box was brought out, they kind of told us, just letting you know, but the people that have this table after you are here. That's great for them, but we just received this food 10 minutes ago and we'd like to eat it. And I think they left us alone for about maybe another 10, 15 minutes.
Not even.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, and then I think we'd finished eating by that point.
Yeah.
Finished the rest of our food angrily. And they moved us to another, like a standing table.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The good part I think about this space, it was just being in a closed up space and able to have a good view of the stage without everybody being bumping into you, especially we are short. So if we are not in
Yes.
front, we don't see enough. And so that was like the good part of just being at Nobu.
Yep.
The spot there, though we wanted to be in the front one.
Yes, yes.
But like this makes me wonder like how people actually manage to cover the costs for this type of event and not like going through. I know I wanted to do this 10 years ago, and if I did it 10 years ago I would have done it the cheapest way possible, not spending so much and not be thinking about my comfort. I would be staying in a camp and all of these
But
things.
yeah, we drove past the tents in the
And it felt like
shuttle.
suffering.
Yeah.
3 days of suffering for just some Instagram pictures that we've been to Coachella, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And that was the other thing that I heard this year that I think people have referred to it a lot as the Influencer Olympics. And I had a lot of friends who are into kind of old school music say it was a dream of mine to go to Coachella 15 years ago when I think the lineups were better, probably more high profile. And no shade to Justin Bieber, but you know, I think is might be a controversial take, but I suspect that there were probably higher caliber musicians
yeah.
that headlined these events back in the day, and it was more about the music then, and less about the influencers taking
Yeah.
photos. And I say this, and we were right into the outfits. We made sure that we were on point. We did not compromise there. We took a lot of photos. We did all that, but that wasn't sort of our focus. And
Yeah, it was a fun thing to do. I think there's many things that it's just like it's super hype and it doesn't require so much hype.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, what we try to do, like everybody else, make the best of what we get, what we have. And I
Yep.
think to me, like seeing Madonna on stage, I was like just wow by it because
Yep.
I recently listened to her podcast with Jay Shetty, and it was very interesting. And seeing her there, just like, oh yeah, cool,
Yeah,
lovely. And the song was so nice, and definitely Karol
Karol
G.
G. This
Oh
good
my
goddess.
God, she's the goddess. Yeah, yeah.
I
Now I
think-
want to go to her concert.
Me too, me
And she did
too.
a very good timing to have her tour named afterwards.
Yes.
And
I think
yeah.
I have a feeling we're probably gonna the next time we reunite, because obviously you're sadly flying back home tomorrow morning very
Yeah,
early.
couple of
But
hours.
yes, let's not think about that. But I have a feeling that maybe the next time we reunite will be at the Karol G
G.
concert, because she's not performing in Australia. I don't think
Oh.
she's performing in Mauritius.
Definitely not. But she's performing next year in Paris, so I'm like thinking this is a good middle spot.
I mean, it's been a while since I've been to Paris.
I love Paris. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because obviously you bought the tickets as a package, but I heard that the second day, so Coachella goes for 3 days. The middle day, which Justin Bieber headlined, was apparently the most expensive. But for me, and I suspect for you, there was no comparison with Karol G.
No.
So Justin did his thing. He was playing his kind of back catalog off YouTube. He was just the computer was connected on stage. I heard that the reason he did that was because he'd sold his back catalog to an investor, and so every time he performed it, he would have had to pay royalties. And because he wasn't technically performing it, he was playing it off YouTube. It was kind of like a genius way to sort of work around that. Which, if that was the case, like props to him.
Mhm.
But for me, he was just kind of chilling on the stage alone, sort of singing.
Yeah.
Brought out Billie Eilish at one point, someone else, I can't
Yeah.
remember. I say this and I'm not a massive fan. I know other people would probably appreciate
Oh my
this
God,
more.
you mean like the Justin Bieber fans? They are so
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, they're so aggressive. Yeah.
Oh, I think this is a whole thing that put me down on for Justin Bieber, because people were so rude and so want to stand there. And
Territorial.
I was like, what's going on? I've heard about this before, but I experienced it now. I was like, oh gosh, okay.
didn't
But
even
what
know.
Karol G, the crowd was so friendly.
Yeah, the
You come in
Latinos.
or out and so on. Everybody's just good vibe and having fun. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately we got separated during the actual concert because I think, we had this hot dog stand that became kind of our meeting point during the festival because internet kept dropping out. But but I think I was at the hot dog stand at the start, and then you were at the front, and then I went to the front, and then you came back.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we lost
We
each
didn't,
other.
and you were joking about this, that we might not be together for Karol G,
Yes,
and then
like
it happened.
just before.
We manifested it, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
But the good thing, we both enjoyed it, so that
Yeah,
was great. So I
exactly.
would say Yeah, sorry, wanted to add something.
No, I was just gonna say that just the comparison between Karol G and Justin Bieber, who was supposed to be like the headliner of the
Yeah,
festival, is not even close because
no.
yeah, you could see this was a like a colossal project for her. She had the sets, the dances, the fireworks, the costume changes, like, the choreography. It was
Yeah.
just
Wow, it was wow.
yeah, it was a spectacle. And obviously we both knew her music before on,
I will love
um,
reggaeton.
but I think out of that, we both had a newfound respect for her and
Yes.
like her work ethic, and yeah, it was just brilliant. So, um, for me, that alone kind of, I think, sort of justified the
The
whole
whole Coachella. I
trip.
was just gonna ask you, what is your end takeaway in a few words of Coachella?
Yeah, I think, um, yeah, just I think the experiencing the novelty, getting the outfits right and getting them to look like we hoped they'd look in our heads. That was surprisingly important. I think we just kind of just, went with it. Yeah, obviously Carol G, and also I think doing it with you. I can't actually imagine having done it with someone else. I think it would have been, yeah, the same as a teacup. Yeah, it wouldn't have been the same experience. And yeah, because we're so similar, but we're also, I think, different in very complementary ways.
Mm.
We're both very chill, but also we both know what we like. And so, for example, I brought. You remember that DJ SARS that we ended up discovering spontaneously? It was where was he from? Is he from Nigeria?
Nigeria.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
a Nigerian DJ, and I brought Casina there because we yeah, the DJ that was supposed to be playing after him was somebody that I followed and I really wanted to see. But we got to the stage early and we discovered, who is this guy? His music is amazing. We were getting splashed by the water guns and my hair went flat and I was very angry about that. That's another story. But we discovered this artist that we wouldn't have otherwise. And then you told me, hey, I want to see can't remember who did you want to see that we saw, and then I didn't know about them, and then I liked them as well.
DJ Snake, I think.
I think I knew DJ Snake. I think you wanted to see Davido.
Oh
Yes, but
yeah,
we
but
didn't
we
get
didn't
to.
get to see because
Yes,
of Nobu.
yes. Remember?
Damn, I would prefer Davido over Nobu.
Yes, I know, and I keep hearing his music everywhere now. Like
Yeah.
people keep using his songs on Instagram, and
Uh,
yeah, but yeah, it's just I definitely don't regret it. But
yeah.
yeah, for me, 100% the highlight. Even
Yeah.
even if Carol G wasn't there, the highlight was still doing it with you,
Yeah.
dude.
I would think for me the highlights there's three. There's you, there is Carol G, and there is just the dressing up and having fun together.
Yes.
All this part together make it worth it that I did Coachella. And all of this kind of happened the last day of Coachella. The other days it was a bit like, is this what I was dying to go to?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think it came together on the last day.
Yeah, great.
And
Touching up on the last part, and then you say that we click on reggaeton, and recently the first touristy thing that you made me do in Melbourne, you take me to two dance classes.
I'm so sorry, dude. I
Reggaeton.
know.
Oh no, I loved it. I was not very good at it. I mean, it
No,
was
yes,
fun.
you
It was
were.
nice. Yeah, for the first time, I think it was fine. So yeah, we click a lot on reggaeton in Chile, and
Yes.
then that's what you made me do. If people say, "What did you do in Melbourne?" I will say, "Yeah, I went to dance
That was
classes."
literally the day you landed,
Yeah,
and I took you
same
to
day.
2 high intensity dance classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was but you kept up so well. You did amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And what made you get back into dancing? Because you told me you have always been a dancer, you've always been dancing, and now of the past year, I've seen you like very into it and active and doing all type of dances and stuff like that. So what get you back into it?
Yeah, so I've my mum enrolled me in dancing when I was a kid, when I was I think 11 because I was a huge tomboy and I think she just wanted me to be a bit more graceful. I just think it was a phase I was going through and I didn't need to worry. But so she enrolled. This was in Australia, so I did Russian folk dancing, and so we performed. We had a little dance group and we performed at venues around Melbourne. And then I started Latin ballroom dancing, like um, cha-cha, rumba, jive, samba, not Brazilian samba, yes. And I did that for 10 years, and then I just kind of started dancing socially, took a break for no particular reason. And then my friend dragged me to reggaeton. She's like, I've just started these classes. They're great. The teacher's so much fun. And so that just came about that way. And then that was all I was doing for a while. Then I did a bachata performance course because the same friend dragged me to that.
Nice.
And then the heels dancing came about more recently. It was about 6 months ago. Um, that was when my mum was going through her illness. I think spoken about that. My mum had come out of hospital, and I had a few other things in my personal life that I was going through, and it came about at the right time, and it was like, yeah, discovering a superpower. It was so much fun, and
Yeah.
it just, I think, yeah, dancing is a great thing.
It
Just
enlightens
generally.
you, right? And I was telling you also, I felt the spark that I used to have when I danced before.
Yeah,
And I was like,
exactly.
oh, I want to get back into it and, have a great time with that. So
Yes, I'm so
it's so
glad.
lovely to see
Yeah.
you dancing and posting. It's very inspiring. Inspiring to me because being into the corporate field, I tend to say, like, yeah, it's I past this time in my life now. I don't have time to go to dance classes or dance or willing to dance because work is so stressful. But seeing you doing that, and you also have a great corporate job and able to be doing this together, it's very inspiring, and it makes me like, yeah, I need to
Aw.
go back to dancing. And I've been saying that to Dominic all the time. And recently doing that with you, it was just like you opened the door again for me. Like, okay, when I go back, I need to incorporate that because it makes me genuinely very happy.
Yeah, and it's like having a stressful job is a reason to do it because
Yeah.
it's such an important outlet. And it just you finish the class and you're like you're in another world. And you just you're so much happier, and to do that regularly, it's just it's such a gift. Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely do it, dude.
Yeah, I would definitely let you know about it. And I would post probably about it too. And that come up to before my last question. Um, how does your corporate world take it that you're out there doing your own thing? I'm asking this because I have so much restrictions, unspoken restrictions from my corporate world, my employees, clients, and perspective as a woman, who you should be. So, how do you handle this? Do you experience any of this, or you just do your own things and nobody says?
I generally just do my own thing. I suspect that people from work have probably seen it. Um, I think if I wasn't in a leadership role, it probably wouldn't bother me at all. It is something I think about, and I have friends that have made jokes about it, just because, heels is a kind of a more sort of, provocative
Sensual, yeah.
style. Yes. Um, and I can do it and not post it, but I choose to do it and post it. Um, but I think most of the, I guess, not backlash, but most of the sort of, side comments have come from people that I perceived as friends.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's, I don't really think too much about it. I'm fairly thick skinned, for the reasons we've spoken about before, but um, I just tend to look at it as people, I think, projecting um,
Their own
either
insecurities
insecurities
or not
or
able to do this like you do it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Or that's right. Or things that they wish they would have kind of done in the past that they never got to. So I don't really mind. Yeah, I think if I have a very strong sense of self, so if I feel good about doing it, and if I don't have like a weird cognitive dissonance, like oh, is this right? Um, I will just do it. And my family sees videos that I post. Sometimes, my parents will mention that a relative from overseas has said something. Um, but they have such implicit trust in my judgment that they will never say, "Oh, this, don't do it." So yeah, I'm very, very lucky in that sense. So
Yeah.
the people that are important, they see my love for it and the way that's made me come alive, and that's all that
That's all
matters.
that matters, right? And also that you are doing from your heart, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think this is very important in the world that we are, that we are able to talk and do things that we want. And if it goes wrong, it's something that we wanted instead of something that was imposed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly right. Important. Yes.
Great. Thank you for sharing. My
Yes.
last question is just like everything we talked about, from travels to dancing to migrating to Australia and to the corporate part of it. Like, do you have a few words you want to say to your public?
In terms of like migrating or
Just a summary of it all. Like, what would you like to say? Like, like, I don't know, keep dancing, keep living your life, keep
Ah.
traveling, or just focus on your corporate job, nothing else.
Yes, dude. All of it. Yeah. Well, I think I couldn't have put it better myself. I think you just summarized it. Yeah, I mean, I think just everything that we've talked about has had kind of one common thread, is that just, be true to yourself, keep exploring it, whether it's inside yourself or externally, like in the sense of travel, like, which is obviously what brought us together, but it's so important. And just to do that with, with a strong sense of self, and knowing, kind of in understanding in the things that you believe, what you know to be right or wrong, and kind of having that as your guiding light. And if you explore with that as your kind of scaffolding, you can't go wrong.
Yes.
I think.
100%.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly. Can I ask a question of you?
Sure.
What has been your favorite part in Australia? What you've seen so far?
Oh, wow. Well, honestly, I think I love the reggaeton dancing a lot. It's gonna be my highlights. I wanted to see kangaroo and koala. Like, koala was my dream pet when I was young. I was sad I couldn't afford. It was not possible.
Mine too.
And it was good to see them, but I think I haven't seen them enough the way I wanted to. So I will definitely come back.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You'll stay with me again.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any opinion about Australia, and somehow I really like it. All the cities I've went to, I loved it. So yeah, I'll
Melbourne is
definitely come
obviously
back.
the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. I hope it's not Sydney, dude.
Great.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast. It was lovely to have you. I love talking about traveling. I love talking about dancing, and I love to know more about you.
Thank you so
Even
much.
if we talk so much, there are stuff about you that I don't know, so it's good to hear about it,
I feel like
And
this
thank you for sharing all
Thank
of
you so
this
much for having
with
me.
the audience.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like this is a continuation of the conversation we were having during the day earlier.
Yes,
And
or during the
yesterday.
night at 2 a.m. that
Exactly.
we say we are going to bed, but
That's
then we were
right.
just like talking for another hour.
That's right.
Okay, thank you so much. And
Until next time. Yes.
until next time.
Yes.